Hello everyone and welcome back to the Kerbal Space Program. Today we're going to conduct yet a new mission. Unlike what I said last time, we are not going to the moon. Not yet. There are a couple more things on the technology tree that I would like to get first. And, well, there are a few more scientific missions we can conduct here as well before we go. In fact, there is one biome of this planet that we have not yet reached. We have reached the launch pad, the grasslands, the ocean, and the desert. But this planet has one more feature we have not yet explored. And that is the ice caps. So, I've built this polar mission to bring us there. Instead of showing me building the thing this time, since it's mostly the same as what we had before, I'm just going to show you what happened. The polar mission is going to consist of our command module and a parachute to protect us from falling. Right beneath it, we have our Science Junior and 2 liquid goo experiments. We also have landers here. Oh, actually, I just realized we're probably going to want to have at least 3 landing legs on this. I feel like a moron. Let's see. Here we go. Landing legs. Right, there we go. Let's make sure that's nice and even. It is important to double check your work, because if you don't double check, you might accidentally do something wrong, and that'll compromise your entire mission, which is bad. Right, so we have 3 landing legs, we have a Science Junior, and we have these liquid goo experiments. Right beneath it, we have a decoupler, because everything above it is going to be what actually lands on the surface of the polar region. Everything beneath it is not going to be as lucky. Well, sort of. The layer below that is another Science Junior, because we haven't conducted a Science Junior experiment above the surface of the polar regions, or I believe above the surface at all. So, something to consider as well. But, if only the area above it is actually going to land, and the only part that we're actually going to be in at the time, we need to ensure that this experiment beneath it actually survives. So, I've attached 2 symmetrical devices right here. These are the radial mount parachutes. I've set them to simultaneously deploy when this module gets released, so that this part right here, even though it becomes debris, will not explode on impact, but instead land on the surface and be recoverable. Beneath that, we have more or less our standard build here. We have 4 tanks right here, liquid tanks, and we have our launcher down here, our boosters, and our stabilizers. So before we go, I just want to make sure that our staging is correct. We want to have it so that the boosters, the separators down here for the stabilizers, and our main device are all set up at once. Our main rocket, once again, will not fire until we throttle up. These will fire as soon as we set them to go. Let's see, stage 3... Oh, it is way too early to release those parachutes. So stage 3 is going to be a little bit higher. We're going to put these parachutes higher up on the scale. Stage 3 involves getting rid of these boosters. And stage 4 is going to involve more or less the orbiter, the pseudo-orbiter. We're not actually going to go in orbit with this. We're pretending that we are, and we are capable of going to orbit with this device, but we're not going to. Because we just need to reach the polar regions. We don't need to achieve orbit for that. And finally, these right here are going to be for when we want to conduct our experiment with the lower Science Junior. So we should be all set to go. We're going to now launch the device. So that we may see what we're doing. I am in fact going to speed up time, so that we're going to do a morning launch. We don't have to do a morning launch, but I want to do it so that we can see what's going on. Before launching, I'm going to hit T to stabilize our system, and now we should be all set to go. I'm going to quick save in case anything happens. 3, 2, 1, and ignition. And we're off! I'm going to zoom out a little bit so I can actually hear myself over the thrusters. Just like our first time, our first stage is going to be dropped as soon as our first fuel runs out. When it gets almost out, we're going to throttle up on the main thruster, which has not lost any fuel yet. Right about now. and we're going to ditch our other rockets. So now we have more or less the speed that we need to get up to where we need to go. We're going to go up to about 10 kilometers up, and then we're going to position ourselves to aim north. So we're going to aim north by going this way. It takes a little bit of time for the system to aim north because, unfortunately, our system isn't quite really maneuverable yet. The plan is to get some more maneuverability with our next tech sciences that are available on the tech tree. So we're going to want to aim north about 45 degrees. Once we reach that point, I'm going to let go of the keys and the system should stabilize itself. Wait a minute, actually. Oh, I see. We've got a problem. I think we have a problem anyway. Yeah, we've got a problem. I'm going to have to check something real quick. I'm going to show you why it is important to check your staging. I think we're missing a decoupler, actually. I think, yeah, we're totally... Are we missing a decoupler? Yeah, we're missing a decoupler. No wonder. Good thing we caught this before we got too far. We need a decoupler underneath the orbiter and our main boost. So I'm going to plop one right here, and then put our mission back over there. So, now we should be good to go. And once we get it where we go, we're going to let go and it'll fix itself because we have our stabilizer set to T. From here on out, we can check our orbiting map. You may notice that we're actually a little bit off. We're not entirely aiming at the polar ice cap right now. There's a little bit that we can do to fix that. If I bring up the control here and aim to the left, we might be able to course correct. If we don't exactly land it on the moon with this archway, that's okay, because we do have a second stage to correct ourselves in case anything does happen. So I want to get it so that we keep going until we either burn out of fuel here, or this reaches 100 kilometers. We'll know if we run out of fuel because this archway will stop going up. And I like how our other two flags are more or less right where they were. Oh. Okay, now we're centered, so I'm going to stop aiming in that direction. Oh, and we want to hit X before it gets too late. We don't want to go too high, because it will become more challenging to land. I mean, at this stage, we could actually put ourselves in orbit, but we're not going to. Instead, we are going to use our orbiting maneuver system here to plop ourselves right on the ice cap itself. There we go. I want to make sure that we aim it more or less directly on the center of the ice cap. Oh, and that music means that we have in fact gotten ourselves into space. We must be above 70 kilometers. I think. Yes, we are. Okay, so I'm actually going to give us a little bit more room for maneuver here. There we go. We don't want to waste too much time. We have about 2 minutes to correctly position this towards the maneuver node that we just set up. Okay. And we only have to burn for 30 seconds, so I'm actually surprised we're able to get there with just this initial stage here. The stage will become an issue if we carry it with us all the way to the polar ice cap, so we're going to ditch it once we maneuver ourselves correctly. 4, 3, 2, 1, and go. We're going to throttle up. Okay, so this first stage was not quite enough to get us there, so we're going to ditch it and launch our next stage. I'm going to keep an eye on our orbit map to make sure that we are still aiming towards where we want to go. We want this blue line to match, more or less match, the dotted line that we've set up here. once we do, we're going to hit X, because that'll be exactly the trajectory we'll need to do our mission. Almost, wait for it. And we are good. We are now on our way to the polar ice cap. I believe that's the north one. We don't need to hit both polar ice caps, I believe, to conduct this mission. I am first... I mean, at this point, we can more or less coast the rest of the way there, so we are going to time warp a bit. There we go. And we're going to keep time warping a little bit more. I can see the polar ice cap coming up ahead, which is good. We have not ejected this lower stage here because, one, we have a scientific experiment attached to it, and we have a little bit more fuel. So in case we need to course correct again, we have that option to do so. Once we get low enough in the atmosphere here, I believe below 10 kilometers, I'm going to conduct our first official science experiment. But first, we need to just ensure that our orbiting map is going to get us where we need to go. Oh, you may notice that our line there is dropping a little bit. I think it's dropping just a little bit because we're slowing down on our way through the atmosphere. So we might actually need to do another burn. We'll see as we get closer, though. Actually, no, I think we're good. Maybe if we wanted to, we could do another burn, but we should be fine as far as we're aware. It doesn't have to be exactly on the center of the polar ice cap. I just want to land in this icy region. And fortunately, this should be good. They need to update the graphics on this. Look at those squares down there. It's almost like Minecraft. Okay, yeah, we're gonna make it. I'm gonna keep ourselves pointed like this just in case we need to do an emergency maneuver. But otherwise, we should be good to go. Yep, we are definitely above the ice region. So, we're approaching our scientific benchmark here. I am going to position the system so that we're aiming straight up, rather. We're going to have the nose cone pointed upwards and the thruster pointed straight down. We don't need to do that, but I'd like to. There we go. We're approaching our scientific benchmark area, which is going to be, again, below 10 kilometers. Once we reach that location, we're going to use the lower Science Junior here to conduct our first experiment. Wait for it. Almost. Okay, and now we're going to do it. Observe materials bay. Haha, that gives us 17 science. Only 3 if we transmitted it, but you may notice that we actually have a decoupler here. That's because we're going to separate this stage and safely get it where we need to go. We're going to press the spacebar to get it where it goes. We've attached parachutes to it, which means that it'll have a safe landing, and we can recover that debris later. While we're here, we're also going to conduct a crew report, which will give us an additional 3 science. And now we're going to launch our parachute, because we've gotten close enough. So now we've ensured our survival, and the survival of our other payload right over there as well. We are going to deploy our landing gear. We want to make sure that we land upright so that we can get out to do an EVA. Let's see, we also want to... I'm not sure if it's going to give us any scientific yield, but I'm going to check the mystery goo and see if that gives us anything. No, not really, but we can keep it, I guess. Ooh, that's falling fast. Okay, good. I was worried for a second. I thought the parachutes didn't deploy properly. So that is on its way over there. If it falls slowly enough, nothing on that should explode, which is precisely what we want. Meanwhile, we are set for a soft, good landing on the ground at about 8 meters per second, which we've proven is a safe landing speed. Alright, now we're just going to let it go straight to the bottom and keep an eye on our debris there to see where that goes. We don't actually need to rejoin our debris. Like, I don't have to go EVA and then send Jebediah on a, like, kilometer-long mission across the desert, the tundra to go get it. We can recover it later. Um, let's see. So now we've successfully landed on the surface. I am going to quickly perform an EVA here. Actually, before we do that, I'm going to do our materials bay here. Perfect, an additional 7 science. And we're going to conduct one more goo experiment here now that we're on the tundra. 3 science. Not too much, but it's something. Well, that's still on its way down. Let's see, now it's not conducting EVA, so we're again going to quick save in case we accidentally fall off. We're going to do a EVA here on the ladder. That gives us 5 science, actually, so not bad. Again, every time we do an experiment over a new region, we get new yields. So we're going to store our data there. We're going to get back on board. And I'm not sure if we can do another crew report. We might be able to, but I don't think I want to risk it. Instead, we are going to leave this system by again going EVA. We're going to let go. Or actually, you know what? Actually, hold on. I just realized there is something we can do. We're going to go EVA one more time. I'm going to take the data this time instead of storing the experiments. I'm going to get back on board, and now I think we can do a crew report. There we go, for an additional 1.7 science. 1.5 science. Not much, but it is something. I am going to now go fully EVA. And you'll notice actually that I let go of the ladder here. I didn't mean to. So this lander here underneath the ladder is good to have in case we accidentally let go and we didn't want to do that. But we do in fact want to. Ooh, our debris landed and it looks like it is safe over there. Otherwise there would be a crater or nothing over there. There would just be ruins. We are going to get off of the lander. Awkwardly, of course. And do a couple more EVA things while we're here. 2.4 science, not bad. We're going to conduct a surface sample, which is going to give us probably the most amount of science of this particular mission. Yeah, look at that. That's about as much as we can do. So we're going to do 3 recoveries on this mission. Don't forget that we need to do 3. I'm going to recover myself first. And just from us alone, we got 11 science. But there are 2 other things that we've left out in the polar ice caps to collect. That gave us 22 science, as a matter of fact. 22 science from just the lander. But there's still one more thing we've left out there on the surface. Let's see. Finally, we want some debris. We want this debris up here, the Polar 3 debris. The one that landed at the polar ice cap. Because, as you recall, we put a science experiment on it, and then we had our parachute safely deploy. It landed upright, too. That's pretty amazing. So we're going to recover this vessel to give us an additional 17.5 science. That puts our current science total at 124. So we can definitely buy new things on that tech tree now. You may notice that there are a couple more things that we've left on out there, some more debris. These are polar debris parts that we've started off with. If you remember, we decoupled some stabilizers before we left. I'm going to clean those up off camera so that you don't see me manually remove each one. Before we officially end this, though, let's check out what we can get with our new science. I want to do a couple of new experiments before we really get out there. Right over here, I'm going to get flight control because this will give us a stabilizer, and it will also give us a new experiment that I want to try out soon called the Sputnik, or a satellite. I'm going to try to launch a satellite soon, so we're going to research that. We still have 79 science, so we're going to buy one more thing if we can. Let's see, space exploration, space landing. Oh no! We might not actually have enough science for me to get to what I want. Yeah, look at that. I wanted this thermometer right here, and the mobile processing lab, but we can't quite do it yet. I guess real quick before we officially end the video, I am gonna do something silly. I'm going to do a quick polar mission, but we're not actually going to leave the launch pad. Because I don't think we've actually used the Science Juniors on the launch pad itself yet, so I'm just going to quickly... 1.6. Oh, that's not enough. 1.6. Yeah, that's not quite enough. We still need another 10 signs to get to where we want to go. Drat! Maybe if we did the same Mercury 3 mission, but higher up? I don't know. Give me a moment to figure this out, actually. We'll actually figure that out in the next video. Until then, everyone, this is Ardwick. Stay tuned, and good night.